Hello, this is your residential chalky milk turtle here to bring you an overview to one of my favorite mangas, Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun. I'll be going over the highlights of the individual chapters to reveal the overall story, showcasing important notes like this, to keep better track of them, as well as discuss them at the end. Some arcs are relatively long as a lot of information and character relations are being shown, so I'll sometimes split the arcs into multiple parts. Lastly, since I will be going over chapters of the manga, it's safe to assume that there will be spoilers, so you've been warned. Ever since he was able to walk, Iruma's parents had made his daily life dangerous and reckless until the day they eventually sold him to the demon known as Sullivan. All that Sullivan wants though is for Iruma to be his grandson willingly. Iruma wishes to refuse the adoption, but can't say no to somebody who begs and pleads with him. As Sullivan's grandson now, he is then forced to partake in education at the demon school Babyls, where Sullivan just so happens to be the headmaster for. Here it's revealed that the only defense he has in hiding his human identity is by downing himself with perfume. However, it's not perfect. At the opening ceremony, Iruma has to do the opening speech instead of the honor student Asmodeus due to Sullivan's interference, where he incites a forbidden spell that would have exploded if pronounced wrong. But since he got it right, he'll no longer fall for the rest of the day. Leaving the venue, Asmodeus confronts Iruma for interfering in the opening ceremony and challenges him to a duel. However, due to Iruma's dangerous upbringing, he has learned to dodge any harm that comes his way. As Asmodeus starts getting reckless with one of his attacks, it will end up hitting the student Aiko, so Iruma tries to push Asmodeus out of the way. However, Iruma literally can't fall over due to the spell, so when he lunges for Asmodeus, he ends up hitting him with a German suplex. Asmodeus, believing in the old customs of demon law, states that since he lost, he now belongs to Iruma as a loyal servant. As Iruma goes to his second day of school, Sullivan's security devil Opera wonders why Sullivan had to adopt a human kid, while Sullivan just plays it off as a joke. Asmodeus, showing his undying loyalty, helps Iruma with some basic knowledge of the school, as it's revealed that everyone must summon a familiar to receive their rank in the underworld, as well as the class they are put in. Nibirius Caligo is the proctor for this exam and gives the students a summoning sign that he himself created. While Asmodeus receives a powerful Gorgon snake, Iruma ends up summoning Caligo, since for a human, a summoning sign is a contract between a human and a demon. Unable to stop the summoning, Caligo turns into a fluffy bird due to Iruma's imagination. Unable to break the contract for a year, Caligo goes home bedridden, and Iruma grows more infamous without having a rank assigned. As Asmodeus and Iruma are grabbing school supplies, they end up meeting Clara, who is already labeled as a troublemaker. Asmodeus warns Iruma of her antics, but using the magic word please, Iruma can't help but play with her due to his inability to refuse a request. And being a loyal servant to Iruma, Asmodeus also ends up joining. Here we see Clara use her bloodline ability, which allows her to pull out any object she's seen from her pockets. It's seen that other demons use her desire to play as a way to just get free stuff, and Clara knows this, but doesn't want Iruma to leave, so she tries to keep giving him free stuff. Iruma, however, doesn't want them, as he portrays that even without those things, he'll still play with her. This is a real heartfelt scene, as Clara finally finds somebody who will actually enjoy her company and sparks a potential romance route within Clara. As Iruma heads off to school, he's greeted by Asmodeus and now Clara, waiting outside his house for him. Sullivan mentions that he's made new friends, which makes Iruma question if humans and demons can even be friends in the first place. As the thought weighs heavily on his mind, we get our first instance of the importance of ranks within the demon realm during lunch, where those with a higher rank can enjoy more luxury than those at a lower rank. Here we find out that Iruma is a terrible glutton, and that Clara is banned from the school store since her bloodline ability allows her to essentially steal the merchandise. The homeroom teacher Caligo notices the commotion, realizes it's Iruma, and tries to put him in his place for making him a familiar. But Clara, being the troublemaker that she is, wants to see Caligo in his summoned form and puts a temporary summoning seal on Iruma, which transforms him into the familiar. Since Clara used the shop's item, the storekeep attacks them, which forces the gang to retreat without undoing the summoning spell. As they rest upon the school grounds, Iruma finally decides to ask Clara and Asmodeus to be his friends. However, they apparently don't understand the concept of friends, so Iruma just declares them as his number 1 and number 2 friends, and they kinda roll with it. Meanwhile, it's revealed that they are all put into the abnormal, or what's going to be known as the Misfits class. With the Babyls enrollment arc spanning across 12 chapters, I feel like this is a good point to stop and refresh on the important parts. First, Iruma cannot refuse a request for help. Demons are generically selfish beings who won't help others without a very good reason. Since Iruma doesn't have this demonic tendency, his selflessness will affect Babyls for the better and worst. Second, Iruma must wear perfume to mask his human scent. It's already known that humans shouldn't be in the demon realm, and only having perfume as a sort of defense to his identity is sketchy at best, so Iruma must be vigilant of his identity being exposed at all times. Third, Iruma's sixth sense allows him to dodge any danger. His terrible upbringing is a testament to his ability, as he would have died ages ago without developing it. Story-wise, this also acts as a sort of plot armor for the main character, so we shouldn't expect any terrible wounds early on in the series. Fourth, Iruma summoning a demon is proof that he's human. For someone who has to be on guard of having his identity exposed, this is the worst physical proof that he has. Everybody has either an animal or a monster, and it's best to assume that this has always been the case. So with such an irregularity in the summoning, it'll be easy to spot something different about Iruma. Fifth, a bloodline ability is unique magic only passed on through birthright. This is especially important to note because every demon possesses one, and while we may only know Clara's at the moment, anybody that Iruma meets will have an ace up their sleeves in whatever challenge might entail. Sixth, Clara begins to fall in love with Iruma. This is a situation where Iruma's selflessness has a positive effect since he essentially saved her from a life of emotional manipulation. With no distress of Iruma potentially leaving her, Clara is allowed to be her true self as her feelings for him will only grow the more time they're together. 7th, your rank determines your power and influence. With the little information we've been given so far about ranks, it's clear that demons live by a strong eats the weak mentality, which is why Asmodeus originally challenged Iruma since he thought Iruma just got in through his grandpa's connection. The only test that Iruma took, though, deemed him as immeasurable, so it's unsure how he'll end up placing. 8th, Clara and Asmodeus are Iruma's first friends. This is more story-driven than anything, as it allows us to know that these two characters, despite their personality differences, will now go through their school life revolving around Iruma. Finally, Iruma gets put in the Misfits class. The Misfits class is essentially where they put the demons that have a few loose screws, and to be honest, the gang kinda deserves to be in there with all the antics they pulled within the first few days of school. But for someone like Iruma who's trying to keep a low profile, this only puts more eyes on him. With that though, marks the end of part 1 of the Babyls enrollment arc. Be on the lookout for part 2, where we get to see other members of the Misfits class, as well as Iruma's first self-proclaimed rival.